In the dimly lit chamber, Macken's words hung heavy in the air as he confronted Roman. Macken, with a steely gaze, warned Roman of his anticipated hostility towards Valhalla. But Roman, unfazed, stood his ground. "Let's get things straight," Roman retorted, his voice laced with determination. He reminded Macken that it was Macken himself who had initiated the threat against him. Roman made it clear that he harbored no intention of coercing anyone into swearing allegiance to him. His principles remained steadfast even in the face of looming conflict. As Macken's words lingered, Roman's mind raced. He couldn't shake the conviction that the Cairo kingdom was a prime target groomed by the Kronos Empire for years. The prospect of Valhalla's aggression against Cairo ignited a spark of concern within Roman. He knew all too well that such actions would not go unanswered by the formidable Kronos Empire. With a grave expression, Roman leveled a serious gaze at Macken. He conveyed a warning veiled in determination, urging Macken to reconsider his stance. If Macken dared not to become Roman's adversary, he needed to exercise patience. Roman assured Macken that the group he had assembled would ascend to the pinnacle of Cairo's power, with Dimitry emerging as the linchpin of change. Macken, taken aback by Roman's resolve, acknowledged his boldness. Macken's words resonated in the air as he cautioned Roman against carrying himself with undue pride. He warned Roman that such arrogance would inevitably attract challenges and adversaries. Even someone like Butler, whom Roman had struggled to overcome, was considered insignificant in the grand scheme of Valhalla. Macken emphasized the vastness of the continent, implying the multitude of potential threats lurking within it. Before disappearing into the shadows, Macken granted Roman a reprieve, promising him additional time to contemplate his next moves. Macken expressed genuine hope that Roman would exercise wisdom in his decision-making. With the formation of the Dimitry alliance, the political landscape of Cairo shifted. Each faction reached out to Roman, beseeching him to make a decisive choice. The weight of their expectations bore down on Roman's shoulders as he contemplated the path ahead. Meanwhile, in the opulent confines of Marquis Benedict's office, tension simmered beneath the surface. A concerned worker dared to question Marquis Benedict's intentions regarding Roman. Marquis Benedict's response dripped with calculated ambiguity. If Roman were to align himself with Marquis Benedict, all past transgressions would be forgiven. However, should Roman opt for any faction other than the one Marquis Benedict represents, he solemnly pledges to ensure that Roman faces the repercussions of his decisions and actions. Back in Roman's quarters, he found himself gazing out of the window, lost in thought. As the Dimitry alliance had deftly exploited the delicate balance of power, yet Roman understood that their time was limited. The upcoming year would be crucial, a fleeting window of opportunity that must be seized with precision. The looming specter of war cast a shadow over the Dimitry alliance, signaling inevitable losses and sacrifices on the horizon. Roman, cognizant of the impending conflict, realized the urgent need to fortify his skills, particularly in mastering magic, an indispensable asset in the impending turmoil. In the vast expanse of the continent lay 13 formidable magic towers, each a bastion of arcane power. Among them, the magic tower of the Heavenly Palace stood as a pinnacle of magical prowess. Here, a grand conference convened, gathering representatives from each tower to showcase their achievements and advancements. Despite the Phoenix Tower's impressive display of fifth circle magic, it was met with apathy from the attending mages. The reason behind the Phoenix Tower's subdued reactions stemmed from a fundamental issue plaguing them: a crisis of identity. This unique dilemma afflicted only the Phoenix Tower, stemming from the loss of their ancient grimoire, a cherished artifact passed down through generations. Within the confines of the Phoenix Magic Tower, Felix, acting as the tower's proxy, grappled with the weight of responsibility. 3 years prior, Felix had unexpectedly assumed the mantle of leadership, thrust into a position for which he felt ill-prepared. His mentor's disappearance left a void, compounding the challenges he faced. The inability to inherit the burning grimoire, a revered artifact of the Phoenix Tower, further underscored Felix's inadequacy in the eyes of his peers. As disillusionment spread among the tower's members, the once thriving community dwindled, exacerbated by the loss of funding from the Frank Empire. In the midst of despair, a glimmer of hope emerged in an unexpected form, a letter bearing the seal of Roman Dimitry. The missive bore a proposition that stirred both surprise and intrigue within Felix's troubled heart. In exchange for the Dimitry Alliance's assistance, Felix was offered a role as Roman's sparring partner for the next 6 months, with a generous stipend of 1,000 gold coins granted monthly. The offer, though distant, presented a lifeline amid the encroaching darkness. In the realm of necessity, Felix found himself devoid of the luxury of choice. Despite any reservations or hesitations, his path led directly to Dimitry, a journey he must undertake. As he journeyed in a carriage towards his destination, Felix contemplated the renown of the Dimitry family, known as the sacred land of blacksmiths. It was a place seemingly uninterested in the arcane arts, contrasting sharply with the prominence of magic towers scattered across the continent. Among these towers, the Heavenly Palace Tower stood as a beacon of magical prowess, while 7 others resided within the Kronos Empire, revered as sacred lands for mages. In contrast, Cairo, and by extension, Dimitry, were often regarded as barren lands for magic. Yet, despite this perception, Dimitry held a reputation as a formidable force, situated in the remote northeastern reaches of Cairo. Roman's invitation was the sole catalyst propelling Felix towards Dimitri's gates. The Phoenix Tower, facing its own existential crisis, focused solely on acquiring the necessary funds to sustain its survival. With this imperative driving him forward, Felix's journey culminated in the sight of Dimitri's entrance, a scene marked by meticulous order and efficiency. Approaching the entry point, Felix encountered a guard whose stern demeanor belied the precision of his duties. Halting Felix's progress, the guard inquired about his purpose. Felix, composed yet eager, identified himself and disclosed his purpose, an invitation from Sir Roman Dimitry. Observing the scene, Felix couldn't help but marvel at the systematic and orderly nature of Dimitry. The precision in the movements of the guards and the strategically placed magical devices, along with the imposing fortress walls in case of war, led Felix to conclude that Dimitri's defense was flawless. Despite being a remote territory, Dimitry had earned its reputation as a formidable force that demanded recognition. Within Dimitri's confines, Felix finally met Roman face to face. Roman's commanding presence and aura of authority were unmistakable. With a firm handshake and a direct gaze, Roman welcomed Felix into his domain. In Roman's presence, Felix couldn't help but feel a sense of reverence. There was something about him that transcended the ordinary, a quality that commanded respect and admiration. Gathering his thoughts, Felix wasted no time in getting to the heart of the matter. Felix inquired of Roman, seeking assurance about the terms set forth in the letter Roman had dispatched to him. Roman reassured Felix about the terms laid out in the letter he had sent, confirming that Felix would indeed receive 1,000 gold per month for 6 months as compensation for serving as his sparring partner. This amounted to a total of 6,000 gold, a significant sum by any measure. However, Felix couldn't help but express his confusion. He questioned why Roman had singled him out for this role when there were likely numerous candidates eager to spar with someone of Roman's stature. Roman's response shed light on his decision-making process. He acknowledged the formidable reputation of the Phoenix Tower's flame magic, recognizing Felix's exceptional skills in this domain. Moreover, Roman acknowledged the challenges currently faced by the Phoenix Tower, implying that Felix's assistance was particularly valuable during this precarious time. In Roman's eyes, compensating Felix appropriately was a means of securing the expertise and time of a mage as skilled as Felix. Furthermore, Roman made it clear that he bore full responsibility for any harm that might befall him during their training sessions. As long as Felix committed to giving his utmost effort in every bout, he wouldn't be held accountable for any adverse outcomes. With a serious demeanor, Felix contemplated whether Roman truly understood the implications of their agreement or if he was perhaps underestimating the abilities of mages in general. The scene then shifted to the training grounds of Dimitry, where Roman and Felix faced off against each other. Roman generously offered Felix the first move, a gesture that Felix eagerly accepted. With determination in his eyes, Felix unleashed his formidable fire lance magic, triggering a powerful explosion. As Roman deftly evaded Felix's attack, Felix found himself face-to-face with Roman behind him. Undeterred, Felix unleashed his Inferno spell, directing a blaze towards Roman. However, Roman found himself hemmed in by walls of fire conjured by Felix's spell on both sides. Undeterred, Felix launched his final spell, Rune Flare, with all the force he could muster. As the spell hurtled towards Roman, Felix was convinced that he had successfully immobilized his opponent. Yet, to his astonishment, Roman emerged unscathed, standing behind him with a hint of amusement in his eyes. Roman's casual remark about Felix's reluctance to employ fifth circle magic left Felix momentarily speechless. Felix watched in disbelief as Roman emerged unscathed from the flames. Roman's calm demeanor amidst the inferno unsettled Felix, prompting him to spring into action. As Roman reached out, Felix instinctively activated his blink magic, sidestepping Roman's grasp and creating a brief respite. But Roman was swift. In the blink of an eye, he closed the distance between them, catching Felix off guard. With a surge of determination, Felix unleashed his hold spell, hoping to restrain Roman momentarily. Despite Roman's efforts to break free, Felix maintained his grip, buying himself precious seconds to strategize. Felix knew it was time to prove his worth. With a steely resolve, he unleashed his Inferno burning spell, sending waves of fire in all directions. Yet, to his astonishment, Roman effortlessly evaded each flame, reappearing before Felix with a knowing smirk. Their sparring session concluded. Roman announced their meeting for the following day. Surprised and defeated, Felix found himself sprawled on the ground after his encounter with Roman Dimitry. Contemplating his defeat, Felix couldn't shake the feeling that Roman had somehow anticipated the magic he would employ. Knowing that there were no techniques capable of foreseeing magic, Felix was left wondering how Roman had managed to do so. Frustration welled up within Felix as he pondered the prospect of facing Roman in battle again. Doubt crept in as Felix realized that, under the current circumstances, he stood little chance of defeating Roman. Recognizing the need for a new approach, Felix resolved to engage in deeper contemplation and strategic planning. Since the disappearance of the Phoenix Tower Master, Felix had dedicated himself to mastering the secrets of fire magic. Despite the tower's looming demise, he remained undeterred, driven by an unyielding determination to keep its legacy alive. His relentless pursuit had earned him admiration from his peers, who regarded him as a beacon of strength and resilience in the face of adversity. As dawn broke on the next day, Felix found himself once again facing Roman. With a sense of urgency, he cast another spell. As Felix mulled over Roman's seemingly preternatural ability to anticipate his magical maneuvers, he resolved to shift his strategy. Convinced that confounding Roman's predictions could provide an edge, Felix summoned a towering cliff using his Stone Age spell, blocking Roman's path. Roman's reaction, a serene smile, prompted Felix to reflect on the inherent advantage of magic. Unlike physical combat, magic offered a fluidity that didn't hinge on pinpoint precision. This observation emboldened Felix as he launched a fire wave spell at Roman. Yet, Roman effortlessly dodged the fiery onslaught, evading with a nimble leap into the air. Unfazed by the evasion, Felix pressed on, unleashing a barrage of fire cannons aimed directly at Roman. But once more, Roman deflected the attack, erecting a barrier with his sword in a display of remarkable skill and precision. Felix's mind raced, contemplating whether Roman's defense was aided by some magical artifact. However, upon reflection, he concluded that Roman had likely crafted the barrier himself, a testament to his formidable abilities. In a swift counterattack, Roman closed the distance between them, delivering a punishing blow to Felix's abdomen, sending him crashing to the ground. As Felix grappled with the pain and frustration of yet another defeat, he realized that his current approach was insufficient to overcome Roman's prowess. Sensing Felix's inner turmoil, Roman extended an unexpected offer. He granted Felix carte blanche to employ any means necessary in their future encounters, including enlisting aid from his fellow mages. Additionally, Roman adjusted the stakes of their battles, offering a substantial reward of 10,000 gold for each victory Felix achieved. The magnitude of the offer left Felix stunned. The realization dawned that such a sum could sustain countless individuals for an entire year. Felix concluded that Roman had never regarded him as an equal from the beginning. However, Roman posed a question to Felix. Would he accept Roman's offer? Without hesitation, Felix accepted the proposition. With a sense of determination and pride, Felix vowed to make Roman Dimitry yield and to deplete the gold reserves of Dimitry. It had become a matter of personal pride for Felix, and he was determined to emerge victorious. In the days that followed, he approached each confrontation with renewed focus and vigor, using every defeat as a lesson to refine his tactics. By the eighth encounter, Felix began incorporating spells designed to restrict Roman's movements, such as slow, mist, and magic traps. Felix watched in dismay as none of his attacks seemed to have any effect on Roman. After losing 30 consecutive fights against him, Felix realized he had to come to terms with reality. His pride, once unwavering, now seemed meaningless in the face of Roman's unstoppable power. Felix knew he couldn't defeat Roman alone. Desperate for a solution, Felix reached out to a fifth circle mage named Nox. He implored Nox to join him in facing Roman Dimitry. However, Nox hesitated, expressing concern about the uncontrollable power of their combined magic in a duel against Roman. Additionally, Knox questioned why the proxy of the Magic Tower was involving himself in matters outside his jurisdiction. Knox feared the repercussions if anything were to happen to the eldest son of the Dimitry family. Despite Knox's reservations, Felix emphasized the substantial reward awaiting them if they were to defeat Roman together. He promised Knox a generous share of the reward, half of the 10,000-fold sum, if they succeeded. Upon hearing this, Vox remarked to Felix that they only needed to defeat Roman once, correct? To which Felix responded affirmatively, though he cautioned Vox that it wouldn't be as straightforward as Vox might believe. Felix explained to Vox that Roman seemed to be a natural adversary of mages, emphasizing the necessity of a strategic meeting before taking action. However, Vox reassured Felix, telling him not to worry, as Vox and his subordinates would handle the matter. A few days later, Knox and his subordinates stood before Roman, ready to engage in battle. Roman, ever confident, offered them the first move. Knox and his companions unleashed a barrage of spells upon Roman, hoping to overpower him with sheer force. From the sidelines, Felix observed, realizing that Knox and his subordinates were making the same mistakes he had made in his previous encounters with Roman. Despite their concerted effort, Roman effortlessly defeated all four of them, standing firm in the face of their onslaught. As Roman emerged victorious once again, standing with unwavering resolve, Roman reflected on the transformation brought about by his second body reformation. This metamorphosis had bestowed upon him a newfound immunity to both heat and cold. Roman understood that this enhancement rendered many heat-based attacks ineffective against him. Vox and his subordinates lay on the ground, battered and injured, questioning the enigma that was Roman Dimitry. Felix, taking charge, reassured them to wait, promising to return after a conversation with Roman. Inside the palace, Roman stood regally as Felix approached with an honest admission. Felix conceded that he doubted his ability to defeat Roman. However, curiosity burning within him, Felix posed a question that had been gnawing at him. How did Roman possess the uncanny ability to predict and dismantle magic? Hoping for insight, Felix anxiously awaited Roman's response. With a confident smile, Roman assured Felix that he would share the secrets of his preparation for battles. Felix, taken aback by this unexpected revelation, couldn't help but be surprised at Roman's willingness to unveil the mysteries behind his formidable skills.